That is it, full-time. Liverpool slip-up or Palace step-up, whichever way you want to look at it. Liverpool have dropped points. But then again, you could look at it as if Palace have dropped points. But before we do get into this match reaction and analysis for the absolute cracker, that was 1-1 between Liverpool and Palace. Please do smash the like button and do subscribe. It helps more than you can imagine. But anyway, where do we start? Let's talk about Liverpool. And I don't want this to be all about Liverpool. Yes, we will get into how good Palace were. But let's start off. Darwin Núñez. Where do we start with this man? Obviously sent off for the absolutely ludicrous headbutt that he did. Can anyone understand why he did it? No. Yes, him and Joaquin Anderson had been going at it all game. Joel Ward at points had been winding up. You could see he was starting to lose it. His head... You could see as the game went on, he was getting more and more frustrated. He went clean through one-on-one. He missed the ball. And it was question marks. You could see... when I was watching it, I was saying something's not right with him. And slowly, as the game went on and on and on, you could see he was getting in his own head. And by the time he'd headbutted him, after the referee had sent him off, he just couldn't go off the pitch. And that is something you've got to question mark with a player like this. When you've got a price tag over that, you've got to look at them and be more mature. You've got to... He's playing for Liverpool. And Liverpool, at that time, were 1-0 down. Really disappointing from him. And I thought, to be honest, he had a really poor game. His touch was off. He didn't really offer much. And this is my only question with Liverpool now with Darwin Núñez. They're changing the way they play. They've been crossing the balls in from deep. And when he went off, Liverpool looked so much better because they went back to the Liverpool of old. Trent whipping the balls in. Shimikas down that left-hand side, bombing on forward. You've got Henderson coming in absolutely everywhere. You've got Salah cutting inside. You've got Luis Diaz cutting inside. Whereas when Darwin Núñez was on the pitch, it was a lot more rigid. Players out wide, constantly whipping the ball in. It was slow, it was methodical, and it was easy to read. And I think that is why it fell into Palace's hand. Palace knew exactly what they were going to do with Darwin Núñez. And this is where I want to talk about how good I thought Palace were. That back five, by the way, Nathaniel Clyne, Joel Ward, Joaquin Anderson, Guehi and Tyreek Mitchell. Fair play to them. They were absolutely unreal. They were rigid, they were solid. And the thing is, they literally just said, do you know what, you can have the ball out wide, you come inside and we will swarm you. And if you looked at the average position on the map, they are so narrow and compact, and that is why it works so well, this formation. And I want to say, Joaquin Anderson, by the way, is an absolute player. He was so good in this game, whipping the ball from left to right, taking the ball in situations, defending well. He was strong. I really, really liked him. And then Jeffrey Schlupp, I spoke about him on my live stream. Is there anything this man can't do? He can play in every position. He looks so good in that midfield. The energy, him and Decore between the two of them was so good. And then Eberechi Eze, he was so good going forward. And I'll talk about this. Eberechi Eze frustrates me at some points because you can see he's so good, but his decision-making is not there occasionally. And you saw that in this game. I thought him and Zaha were very good going forward. And I think another reason I want to discuss, actually, when we talk about Liverpool, that first goal, what on earth was going on with the two fullbacks? Virgil van Dijk was at fault, as well as Nat Phillips. Nat Phillips, by the way, was standing front on. As a defender, it's a basics of football. You stand side on so you can turn. Zaha's just run straight at him, not even really curved his run. He's just run around the side of him, and Nat Phillips has turned like that, and he's turned like a lorry. He's turned so slowly, and then Zaha's got in behind. And then Virgil van Dijk, this is where I look at Man City and I look at Liverpool and I see the gap. When you look at Man City, if a defender gets like, there's a covering defender, and they're there straight away, or a covering fullback. Whereas with this Liverpool side, it was Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk sprints over, catches up with him, and then stops running at the last minute. And then Zaha slots it into the far corner. I don't know whether Virgil van Dijk thought he was going to cut back. I'm not sure what was going on there, but it was a real lapse in judgment there and concentration from both of the centre-backs. I thought Andy Robertson, really struggled today. I think he struggled with Jordan Ayew. I thought Jordan Ayew every time had the better of him, and he didn't really offer much going forward. And it's not like Andrew Robertson. I usually expect a lot more going forward from him. And then the midfield three, I thought Harvey Elliott had an okay game. I thought he was quite good, to be fair. Towards the end of it, I thought first half he struggled, but he got on the ball a bit more, some neat touches. But the problem is when you play players like Harvey Elliott in that midfield three, they don't offer anything going back, and that was the problem then. Every time every time Palace counter-attacked, there was no Liverpool players anywhere to be seen. And that was the problem. It was like a wave of white going forward with those Palace shirts. And Liverpool just didn't know what to do. I just didn't really understand it. It was a great, well-worked plan by Palace. You can see exactly what they were doing. They were going to sit in deep, soak up pressure and counter-attack with their pace. And as well as that's a really simple tactic. You see so many sides go to teams like Man City and Liverpool and try it out. But fair play to them because they did it well. Not only that, they wasn't even with their counter-attacks. It was like gung-ho. It wasn't lobbing it forward. You saw it from the goal. A really nice touch from Eberechi Eze. He's turned Fabinho and Trent as if it's nothing. And it's a great pass. It's well-worked football. This Crystal Palace side is a serious side. You're seeing, and there's depth in the squad. You saw when they were bringing players on. They're a really, really good side. Liverpool were not at the races today. I think we can all say that, weren't we, really? Let's be honest. Liverpool weren't at the races, but Darwin Núñez needs to hold his head in shame after that. He's let down his side more than anything today. I thought he was really, really, really poor. But overall, I don't mind a poor performance from a player who's just signed. That I can acknowledge, and I can say, do you know what? That's fair. Everyone has a bad game every now and then, but it's not even the bad game. It's the red card that does it for me. And I think Liverpool fans are going to start questioning him, because if he has a temper like that, defenders will work him out and they will wind him up every single game. He's now got a target on his back because he will be seeing that. But let's talk about Liverpool overall, though. Liverpool now, going into the season, first 2 games, Palace and Fulham, and they've got 2 points from the 2 of them. Yes, we talk about Man United's about poor start, but Liverpool are not far off it. You look at Man City and the sides they're trying to compete with. It's really not up there. And I said this before, when they lose Mane, you will see a drop-off, because Luis Diaz, as great a goalie as it was, he doesn't offer what Mane does. Mane is the complete player. He's a striker. He's a winger. He can do everything. He wins the ball in the air. He can drive at you. He's a great player, and I think they're really missing that, because, as I said, it was just so methodical. It was get the ball out wide and we'll whip the ball in. It wasn't the Liverpool of old, and when they lost that, when they went down to 10 men, they showed that, but then at the same time, they were still so vulnerable. So many times, Zaha could have had a hat-trick tonight. If he'd had that one when he was at back post, when the Decore whipped the ball in and he goes with his right foot, he should have gone with his left foot, and then Eberechi had a couple of chances. Overall, I think Palace and Liverpool will both be disappointed with this result. Liverpool, obviously, because they need to win these kind of games. You can't be going in. Last season, they lost 2 games. You cannot drop so many points after 2 games already. And then Palace will be annoyed, because Palace really should have won this game, in my opinion. Liverpool only had 4 shots on target. They were shooting from distance, because the thing is, because they were so compact, Liverpool was having pot shots constantly over and over again. And Palace don't mind that. You could see they were absolutely fine with that. 4 shots on target. Palace had 3. It shows, as much as people see, possession, Liverpool dominated, total shots, Liverpool dominated. But overall, I honestly think Palace should have won that game. And I think Patrick Vieira will be fuming with his men, because he'll say, yes, he's proud of them, but they've lost. They've dropped points there. They've lost out on a big chance there to get a huge win at Anfield as well, and a statement to the league. And I get Liverpool fans can tell me there's injury problems, there's an injury crisis, but they've still got good enough players. James Milner, for me, he was dreadful tonight. I don't think he's up to the standard. Fabinho was great. Thought Virgil van Dijk wasn't good. My man of the match for Liverpool, I'd probably say, was Trent. As much as Diaz did well, I only think he turned it on for about 10-20 minutes, whereas Trent created so many chances. Let's actually get the figure of how many current chances he actually created. 5 key chances and 2 big chances. I told you, created so much down that right-hand side. And then Palace, you could literally talk about every single player. There were so many players in that team you could talk about who played well. Decore, I thought, had a great game. Eze had a great game. Joel Ward, Tyreek Mitchell, Decore, Zaha. But I'm going to have to give it, and I'm going to say Anderson. I thought Joachim Anderson for me. Joachim Anderson or Eberechi Eze. Eberechi Eze just needs to get that fine, minute detail in the final third, just a couple of decision-making, and he will be a world beater. I'd say that now. But what a performance from Palace. What a stinky performance from Liverpool. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts. Do you agree with what I've said? Liverpool, they're struggling without Mane. It seems disjointed. And Palace, what a performance. They really should have won that. But thank you for watching. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. I'm really excited to hear your thoughts. And I honestly read all of your comments. But as I said, like and subscribe. But BucketHatSam, over and out. Thank you. Goodbye.